and welcome. My name is Wangamati Kiri. I'm going to explain how I created my database, tables, insert, update, and also delete. In addition to that, I'm going to do table joining. I'm also going to show how I'm going to back up and restore a database. Let us begin. I'll not type everything. I had done it earlier because if I had to do it now, it will take me even an hour. But I already done it. What I'm going to do is go step by step creating the databases. Let us begin. Okay, here I'm creating the database named Lengaju. Okay, it is created successfully. Now the next thing is to use that database. Use database. So now that I am using the database, I'm now ready to begin creating my tables. The first table I'm going to create is named teachers table, and it will have 4 attributes. So let me execute the query. The table is created successfully. Then the next thing is to create the second table. Execute. Okay, my second table is now created. Let me create the third table. It is also created successfully. I'm going to create the fourth table. It is also created successfully. Then the fifth table and the last one called subject table. Now I'm done with creating my table. For example, if I open my database, let me refresh and see if my database exists here. Okay, I'll have to force it. When I open my database, here it is my database named Lengaju. There inside, I have created. There inside, I've created those 5 tables. The 5 tables are department table, student table, DBO, that is student subject table, and subject table. The last one is the teachers table. Now, if you want to see what is in these tables and the fields and attributes, you can use the select all from maybe teachers. Let me say teachers. Teachers table. Now I execute, I have 4 attributes. My teachers table will have the attribute name TSC number, first name, second name, and the department net code. Then another table which I have to show all the tables. So the second table is department table. Department table, the fields that are there in are the department code, department name, TSC number, subject title, and the position of the teacher. Then another thing is I want to show you the student detail table. Student details table. There was an error. This was error. So my student details table will have the admission number of a student, the first name, the second name, the year of birth, and the admission date. That is, those are the attributes for my student details table. Another thing is my subject maybe table, subject, yeah, subject, underscore subject table. So my subjects table will have, these are the attributes for my subject table. You have subcode, subtitle, department, code. Then another thing is, I've not shown you what think the subject table, subject, okay, student subject table, students, let's go subject table. So when I execute, there was an error. I think I misspelled or, okay, I mean it was subjects, not subject table. When I still have the error, not students, but student. Okay, my student subject table will have admission number of the student, the subject the student is doing, the class from which that student is using, and also the stream of that class. I think that is all. Let us now insert values into those tables, and I will begin with this table known as teachers. I'm going to insert these values which I had already done. I'm going to copy and paste the values uh, into that editor. So it ends here. I'll copy, come and paste it here. When I execute, it must insert into the teachers table those values I had already done. So the execution is successful. Now I can check the table to see the values which I have inserted. Select all from students, no, teachers table. That is what we have already. That's what we've been inserting. Actually, these are the values which I have inserted. As I had already done, told you, my table was to have TSC number, first name, second name, and then department. So these are the values. The TSC number is in this column. There's the first name, the second name, and lastly the department code. Now the second insertion is into the department table. Let me minimize this. So let me insert also the same thing I had done it earlier. I'm going to insert those values by copying from my word. So it begins here. Sorry. Now these are the values which I'm supposed to insert into my department table. So when I execute the query, it must show me that it has inserted the values. So it tells me that the execution is successful. Now what we can do is that we can check those values. Select all from the department table. So when I execute this, I must see that those values are already inserted into my department table. I think the progress is good. I can proceed. So I've already shown you. Let me insert into the third table the values the same way, which I had already done it. And those values are, I'm going to insert in the subject table these values. So it ends here. Let me copy. I think that's there. So when I come and paste my query here, I have to paste it there. Those are the values I'm going to insert into the subject table. So when I execute, it must tell me that it's successfully inserted. So when I have to check the subject table, I must see these values inserted. So select all from subject table, from subject, I think it was, Let me not mess up. Okay, it is called subjects table. Subjects table. So when we execute this query, okay, those are the values. The values were inserted successfully, and that's why the query shows that our table contains those values. Third thing I'm going to insert into the third table. I think is it the third? No, the fourth table. Fourth table. What's the name of fourth table? Which is known as students detail. So these are the values I'm going to insert into my students details table. I had already done it, so I'm copying and pasting there. Copy. Then come and paste it there in. So when I minimize this, you should see my values execute. When I execute the query, it tells me the values are inserted successfully without errors. So when I check my it is student details table, select all from students, let's go details, not students, it is student details table. I should see those values inserted into my table. Actually, there are 10 students whom I have inserted into my table, and there they appear. So the next thing is to finalize my insertion. I'm going to insert in the last table, and that table is known as student subjects table. This table contains the details of students concerning the subject is doing. For example, if the name or if the admission of the student is 163, when you query the database using that admission, it should give you all the subjects this student is doing or is taking, and also it should give you the class together with the stream. So let me select the query I had already written down. It was a bit long, but at least doing something. Now let me insert those values into my student subjects table. Execute. The query is executed successful. So when I select the table, select everything from my table called student student underscore subjects table subjects. I should see those values inserted. Let me execute the query. Actually, they are there inserted very well. You can see we have the admission number of the student, the subject title. These are the subject this student is doing. Then the class level here. Then the stream of which this student is from. You can also order the student. You can order by student. What you can say order it by stream. You can order the table. You can query and order the information by stream. So you can see I've ordered it by stream. So every student who is in the same stream are following each other subsequently. Now I'm done with inserting it to my table, the values. So what I'm going to do the next thing is to delete and update my I'm going to update my tables. And the table I'm going to update is known as student subjects table. I'm going to update the stream, and that stream, when you look into this database, you can see I'm going to update the stream. I'm going to update the stream where the stream is central and the form is form 2. I don't want to have so many centrals here. I want to have a different stream by the name south. So my query was select update student subject, then set the stream to be S, where the class level is form 2 and the stream should be set to central. So when I copy that and come and paste it here, what it should do, it should set the stream to be S, where the class level is form 2 and the stream is Central. When you look into this, I have the class level to be Form 2 and a stream to be Central. So every detail of Form 2 and Central must be updated to stream of South. So when I execute the query, it tells me it has executed successfully. So when I select my table, when I do it, when I select from my student what subject table, I mean student underscore subjects, I mean. There was a problem was committed there, that is. So when you look into my table, you see it has updated that from to Central to South, and that is all that I had to do with updating. Now the next query is I think it is deleting. So the next thing I'm going to delete from student details, where the admission number is 172. And before I delete, let me select that table to see the details before I do the deletion. Select from student underscore details. You can see that my table has these values, and so far so good. I want to delete that admission 172. So my admission 172 is this one. So when I carry out that query, it should delete Yuda Juma, whose admission number is 15172. So let us copy that query to see the results. Copy. So when I execute that, okay, it tells me it has executed successfully. So let us select the table and then see if it has really deleted the value. Student detail. So on execution, actually you can see that the 15172 is now missing, meaning it has been deleted. Now the next thing is I'm going to let me see what was the next question. Okay, next thing I'm going to do table joining. And table joining, I had already done it. So I'm going to copy and paste, then I'll explain what I did. So let me copy this, copy, then paste here. So the first thing here is that I'm selecting everything from all the tables I'm going to join. And this is a teacher's table, which I have given it an alias as TS. So this is a representation of this table name. I don't want to use this wrong name in my query selection or questioning. Querying the result from that table. It will take me too much time to type that wrong name. Now I'm going to join it with department name, which I did give it an alias known as department or dep. Now the condition on which I'm going to use to join this table is from this teachers table, I'm going to use the department code to join with a department table where it also contains the department code. So here, these two codes must be present in those two tables, else you won't get the results. I also did join the table, another table again, and that table was subject table, where in the department table we have the subject title, and in the subject table we also have the subject title. So that is the condition of joining the subject table and department table. Then I also joined student subject. I also renamed it or gave it an alias as STT. So the condition was I'm going to join these with the subject table, where subject title in the subject table must be equal to subject title in the subject, where the subject title in the subject table must be equal to subject title in the student subjects. And lastly, I joined with student details, where I use the condition student details admission number must be equals to student admission number in the present in the student subject. So in the student's subject and in the student details table, this admission number exists. Therefore, it makes it easy to join those tables. So when I execute my query, these are the results, and you can see it is very long. It has joined all the tables. You can see the first table is the teachers table. It begins here, then comes and end here. The second table is begins here. It has department table. It has got department code, department name, then TSE number, subject title, and the position of the teacher. Then the third table was, I think it was, what was my title? Okay, subject table, where we have the subject code, then the subject title. Then the other table was student. What was the table? The table was, actually it was student subjects. So student subjects, can see we have this. So we have the admission, subject title, the class from which is from. Then you have the stream. And lastly, we had our student details table joined here, where we have the admission number. Then we have the second name, year of birth, then admission year. So that is how I joined that. Now, to be explicit in my joining query, I had selected some field to make it look at least beautiful, to explain to make my table look beautiful with or those, what do I say, or database designer says to make your database lack some redundancy of data. So this is my query. So the query was, I had selected, as you can remember here, the subject title has been repeated, the subject code has also been repeated. You can also see that the department code has been repeated a number of times here. I can see, I can show you here the TSC number is repeated. I don't want the redundancy. Also, you can see the department code is also repeated. I don't want to see the redundancy here. Even the subject title. So that is all in short. So let us see what I did. Okay, what I did is I did table joining here. Though using these aliases, I was able to select some attributes or some field to display on my table very well. So I have the first name, or I selected the TSC number, first name of the teacher, then subject code, then subject title, position of the teacher, department code, department name, then admission number of the student, first name of the student, then the admission date of the student, year of birth of that student, class level of the student, then stream. That is all I had to select. But if you want, or if you wish, if you wish, you can still add more fields here. But that is what I had to do. Now you can see my table is lacking now some redundancy. I have the TSC number, the first name, the subcode, that is subject code, subtitle. I have the position here, I have the position, the position of the teacher, then department code, the department name, then admission number of the student. I have the first name of that student. You can see it is repeated because he's doing so many this repetition is because of the subject he's doing. I allowed that table to have repetition because for a student to register for so many courses, he must repeat his or her admission number, then admission date, admission year of birth, class class level, lastly the stream. So that was all about table joining. Now the next thing I'm going to do here is to, I think it is to back up. Backing up. Now to back up my table, I had already written my query here. You can see this is the query I had written down. So when I copy this query, come here and paste it there. And before I execute, let me go to the place where that backup is going to be stored. It is in my drive C. then program files, just program files, then not that, it is my Microsoft SQL Server, then here, then my SQL, then my backups. So I had already done this backup before I started this one, so I want to delete this, then execute the query and see what will happen, because this is the place where my backup is going to appear. So when I execute this query, it should back up my database. Okay, the query is executed successfully. When I drag this up, you can see that my table or my database is backed up. And when I go to the location, you can see that that database is backed up here. Now the next thing is I'm going to restore. The next thing is to restore the database. And I already written the SQL, so I'm going to copy and use it, and then I'll explain what happened. So here, copy and paste it here. So to restore a database, here we mean that in case your database has been deleted or has been corrupted, what can you do to restore it back? So for example, I have my database with all these tables, then maybe I accidentally drop the database or delete it. How can I access it? If I had a backup, then I'm good to go. So here I'm going to use the master, then I'll have to restore that database as Lengaju. Okay, my database that I had backed up is known as lengaju dba, that is database administrator.bak. And here I'll delete this because that is the database I'm going to back it up. Okay, I'll rename, that is to rename the database. I don't want to delete this. Okay, I'm going to have two databases, but the second one will be named Lengaju School 2. But this one will also be there. So when I execute the query, it must tell me that it has executed successfully. So let us see. Execute. Actually, my database is now restored, and I have restored it as a second database. Let us see if it exists here. Wow, there it exists. So everything that is in Lengaju school is also in this Lengaju school too. If I open my tables, you can see that those tables are there. We have the department table, student table, DBO, students, subject table, and teachers table. And then to show you that everything there is the one that I had been doing in the first database, let us use that database known as Lengaju, but is 2. So execute. Now we are using this. Now if I want to select no, delete this. No, it's just Ruby. And I have to delete that. Select everything. Delete this or 2. We want to select something from those tables. So select everything from teachers table. Teachers, this one. So when I execute, you see that everything that was in the first table has been restored back into the second database called the option 2. So even if I query the student details, still the same data is there. You see, everything is there. Even if I query subjects, you see that everything is also there, and even the updated version is there, just because of all that I did. And that is all about that the project that you are given to do. Thank you.